Hello, whoever finds this later, or whoever might be out there right now. I'm hoping I don't sound like one of those space aliens off of that crashed flying saucer in the opening clip. Um, and I'm fully alien, but we'll find out when when this is up there, or people can come and comment. So I just wanted to hop on because I was really annoyed earlier, and then I got annoyed again when a headline came across my feed, and that's what I'm sharing already there on the screen here because it's going to be relatively short. Uh, and maybe nobody can understand what I'm saying because I won't know until after I'm done, or unless someone pops into the chat and tells me that I sound like a space alien. Anyhow, I was sitting waiting for a meeting in a lobby, and they had decided to torture people who were at their business uh, by having the channel on daytime. Oh, what's this now? I'm getting alerts. Uh, I don't know what that was about, so we'll just close that. That won't happen again then. Uh, where'd I go? There I am. This is why I shouldn't do this on the fly, I suppose, or even more on the fly than usual. So anyhow, sitting in this outer office, and they've got ABC on, and they got The View on, and they decide, or Whoopi Goldberg starts a conversation about a movie that opens tomorrow called A Knock at the Cabin, which I think is based on a book called The Cabin at the End of the World. I'm probably wrong on that, but um, they start talking. Uh, Basically, they Whoopi. Well, I'm going to read the article that I came across here, and that'll explain it. But Joy Behar, one of the co-hosts on The View, went on to say some, went on to be incredibly stupid, and that was about the time when I couldn't watch anymore, so I didn't get to see the whole bit. But I saw enough to realize that Joy Behar was being the kind of critic slash commentator that just annoys the heck out of me. She expresses a firm opinion, and sometimes aggressively so, without having the vaguest clue about what she is commenting. And in this case, it was the M. Night Shyamalan M. Night movie that opens tomorrow. Today being the 2nd of February, tomorrow being the 3rd, and that's when the movie opens, I believe. And that's what this article says as well. So anyhow, headline is Jay Behar rips M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin without even seeing it. Quote, this movie gets a Razzie from me. Yeah. The only kind of critic like this I hate more are the kind of critics that go out of their way to comment on films they don't like, or they go when they see something or read something they know they're not going to like because it's not a genre that they appreciate. But it and then right below, the people like Joy Behar here are the ones that just regurgitate press releases and pretend that they're critics. So Joy Behar went. Here's the article written by Greta Bjornson. Comes off a website called the Decider. And it was just on my homepage when I booted up my computer to handle some emails. Anyhow, it says Joy Behar went full film critic on today's episode of The View, boldly blasting M. Night Shyamalan's latest flick, which hasn't even hit theaters yet. Now, some reviewers appear to have seen it. There's a bunch of YouTube videos that I haven't seen them, that seem like they are commenting on the film. So I imagine those people have seen it. I saw a preview. It looked interesting. Maybe I'll get around to seeing it, although unless I find myself with a lot of spare time on a Saturday, it's highly unlikely. I just don't get down to movie theaters that often. Okay, so during a conversation about Knock at the Cabin, the director's upcoming release, Behar turned her nose up at the movie while admitting that she hasn't seen a single second of it. Whoopi Goldberg kicked off the conversation by asking her co-host what they would do if they were faced with the same decision as the characters in the film. And that decision is a bunch of psychos not invade the cabin, take them captive, and hold. Basically, it's Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge. They star here. They're held hostage by some folks who claim that the world will end unless this pair of men choose one of their family members to die. So yeah, bunch of psychos take some people hostage. These psychos claim that they have had a vision, and their vision tells them that this is what I've gathered from the previews. And their vision tells them that somebody in this cabin has to die or the world's going to end. So Whoopi Goldberg went on to answer her own question, what she would do if she was in that situation. She would kill the captors. Again, from the preview, that seems a bit difficult since I think they're in chairs tied up. And then Goldberg turned to her co-host for their takes. When it was Behar's turn, she didn't hold back one bit. This movie gets a Razzie from me, she said, referring to the infamous award show that calls out Hollywood's biggest flops of the year. Goldberg objected, telling her, well, you haven't seen it yet, don't razz it yet. But Behar countered, just based on what you're telling me. And let's see what we continue here. And that's actually about as far as I got in their interview, I will admit. And then Goldberg conceded, this is not your kind of movie. And Behar continued asking, why does killing a family member avoid the apocalypse? He doesn't answer the question. What is one thing have to do with the other? Nothing. Well, let's see. It's a horror movie. Again, we got hapless people held captive by crazy folks who are making unreasonable demands of them. They're in an impossible situation, so it's a horror movie. It's not going to be 100% logical because it's a horror movie. And plus, she still hasn't seen the thing. The conversation devolved into a debate about whether it would even be worth it to kill a family member to avoid the end of the world, with some co-hosts admitting that they would choose themselves as a sacrifice. And see, that's where my mind went. I would like to think that I would tell the psychos, kill me, leave my family alone. I don't know. I haven't been in a situation. I've never really considered it, to be honest. But as their conversation got more chaotic, the View producer Brian Tedda stepped in to steer the chat back on track. Tedda from offstage says, you're saving somebody by making the decision. So basically, these guys show up at the cabin, they knock on the door, they say, we all had visions that this is going to happen. And that's where Goldberg laughs at the idea of visions and shook her head. Again, it's a horror movie. These guys, crazed cultists or visionaries, who knows? These people, the hapless folks, just have to survive through this because it's a horror movie. And then the panel dissolves into chaos again. Tata attempts to clarify, but it's no use. Goldberg then wraps up the messy topic by telling audiences to just read the book that the film is based on, if you really want to know what's going on. And of course, they could also just wait a day for the movie to come out. Because when Behar says he doesn't, let's see, why does killing a family member avoid the apocalypse? Quote Joy Behar. He doesn't answer the question. What does one have to do with the other? Nothing. She doesn't know this. She hasn't seen the film. Maybe she's read the book, but then she would say that in the book, blah. But apparently she doesn't because she's too busy being dumb. Yeah. Please don't be a Joy Behar, or even a Joy Behar. If you're going to comment on a film or a movie, at least watch get a sense of it. Actually, even then, don't. If you're gonna be slamming it, at least get someone to secondhand tell you whether it's worth slamming or not. Again, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here. As I said, I only saw the first minute or so of this exchange. It's probably a good thing because I probably would have been very irritated when I went into the appointment. Um, but yeah, so Goldberg seems like she wanted to have one conversation, and then Behar decided to pretend she was a film critic, and the worst kind of film critic. And don't be that kind of film critic, if you people out there. If you're gonna talk about, if you're gonna praise something or if you're gonna slam something, at least have an idea of what you're talking about. At least have, yeah. Anyhow, that's it. This is mostly just, like I said, to see if I can get the sound working, and because I just wanted to get this off my chest. And for the record, I used to be a reviewer. I wrote about films. I wrote about music. Um, Occasionally wrote about comics just because that was my interest. And I would never make a comment in my official capacity on a film I hadn't seen, not even a little capsule. Even if I was fairly certain that I wouldn't like it because I didn't like anything from that director, or I didn't like the concept as it appeared, I still would not run my mouth about it, or in my case, pound the keyboard about it. So why this person who is on a nationally broadcast talk show would do it is just baffling to me. Just, unless her head is as wooden as the door that gets knocked on in the film. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this up and see whether anything of this came out. Understandably, yeah. Englishing is hard. That's why I should not just hop on and start doing this. So I'm going to click the first button,